I'm about to introduce to you author Juliet Blackwell, and we're going to be talking about her new book called The Lost Province of Carousel, and you are looking at it right here. And it's going to be audio only. We're going to be talking on the telephone, and I can't wait to talk to her. I have so many questions. Historical fiction, I loved it. So everyone, here is Juliet.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited because I am speaking with author Juliet Blackwell, and we are talking about her brand new book called The Lost Carousel of Provence. Thank you so much, Juliet.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about the book.
First of all, I love your name. My best friend in high school was named Juliet, and
Oh,
you just don't run across them that often, so I just have to tell you I love your name.
yeah, isn't that funny? It's like a classic name, and yet
Yes.
you don't find it that often. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
was like the only one in the school, so. Okay, so this book came out last week, and I have been seeing so many just great reviews all over the place. So you must just be so excited about that.
It's always lovely. I think it's true for any artist when you put your stuff out into the world. You never know quite how it's going to be received. It's a little bit like being a mama and waiting to see how people like your baby. And some books people connect with more than others, or more immediately than others. So that's always interesting to see how people react.
Well, I was really shocked because I'm looking at Amazon while we speak, and they do not have it listed as historical fiction, and I can't believe it. And I want to know what you thought about that.
The whole genre thing is so sort of perplexing and frustrating as an author and as a reader, because I'm obviously a big reader as well. So I don't know. I mean, this book was originally sold to my publisher as what they call women's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally don't like that term because I'd like to know what the corollary is, like what is men's fiction? Like, do men get regular fiction and then we get this little corner called women's fiction? I don't, it bugs me, that term.
You know what? I'm happy you said that because it kind of bugs me too, but then I didn't know it. I never talked about it with another author, but women's fiction to me is like so vague, and I find that then it kind of classifies like a man isn't going to want to read this, or
Right.
I don't know, like I want it to be more specific too, and I definitely consider this historical fiction. I read a lot of historical fiction, so I feel like I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that goes back in time and has some historical references. And I did learn a lot of historical things, so I like it as historical fiction. So,
well, thank you, and I have no problem with that. But there is a contemporary storyline. So some people who like historical fiction really like to be back in the 1600s, and there's no reference to the modern world. So in that, it might be rather misleading to some people who either love historical fiction, pure historical fiction, or don't, because it's not purely historical. And it's definitely, it goes back and forth. And as far as women's fiction, it does feature a woman in the primary role, a protagonist, but there's also a man. And so, I don't know what the whole women's fiction thing is. So.
Yeah.
And some people see that as romance as well, and it's definitely not a romance.
No, I don't think I'd call it as romance.
So, I mean, I think I have seen it called historical fiction in many places.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows?
So
I guess
just,
Amazon.
when I went on there. Yeah, when I went on there today, I was like, that is so weird. Whatever. But I'm going to let you tell everybody, the short blurb of exactly what this is about before we talk about it. And, because I don't like doing any giveaways. So I'll let you do it.
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful. The book really features the protagonist named Katie, who is a woman, a photographer, and she had a pretty rough start in life, and she's at a turning point in her life, and the only thing she has of value is a carved wooden rabbit that looks like a carousel figure, and she's always thought it was carved by a very famous French carver who's a real guy. This is where the historical fiction comes in.
Mm-hmm.
A man named Gustave Fayol, who had a carousel factory in the city of Angers, in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So she's always thought it was carved by him, and she takes it to one of those sort of antique road shows to get it appraised, because she thinks, she's going to finally give up this rabbit that she's loved her whole life, and it's going to finance a change in her life, because that's what she's really looking for. And she finds out it was not actually carved by the man she thought it was. And she gets very frustrated and then winds up kind of accidentally breaking her rabbit, and she finds a secret within. She finds a little box that has a note and a picture of a woman, and it sends her on this whole search to find out where the rabbit came from, whether it's worth anything, but also who the woman in the photograph is, and that kind of thing. So then she travels to France, and she winds up taking a lot of photographs of carousels, and she's always had a fascination for carousels. And then meanwhile, we also learn about the carousel carvers, and then we also learn about a very reclusive, very grumpy man who lives in the chateau where there was rumored to be a carousel, and the chateau, of course, is in Provence. So there was rumored to be a carousel that has now been lost at the chateau. So that's where the title comes from.
Right, which I love the title. I mean, and I'm looking, just so everybody's looking at this book cover as we speak, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, that's the first thing that I saw. I saw it somewhere on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this book cover. Like, it's just, the colors are just stunning. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have to agree with you, and I wish I could take a little credit for it, but I cannot. That's all the art department at Penguin Random House, and don't they do me proud? I think it's beautiful. I can't stop looking at it myself. It's very evocative because it has that carousel-y feel, but then it also has the lavender, and it's just, it's wonderfully evocative, so I love it.
Yes, and since I read so many on Kindle, like I go weekly to Barnes and Noble just to hold the books and see them in person. And this is the one that I'm definitely going to go looking for, because I just want to see, I only see pictures of it, and I'm like, there is something about holding that hard copy and, or the paperback, whatever, and seeing those colors like in life as opposed to just on the screen, So this will be one I will be looking for. But at the end of your book, you talk about the history of carousels, which I just found fascinating. I want you to tell everybody, because I had never knew this, like where they came from. I had no idea.
Yeah, and I didn't either. And I wrote this book. I've been wanting to write a book featuring carousels for many years, and I just haven't gotten quite the right angle yet. I think a lot of us are fascinated by carousels because they're very nostalgic, and the music and the lights and the mirrors and obviously the animals are very evocative. But the history of carousels is that they actually come from a fighting technique that was used to help train knights, because when they used to do jousting, then a lot of the warriors were hurt. Were seriously hurt or even killed when they jousted in practice. So they came up with this it's apparently from either the Italian carosello or the Spanish of carosello that we get the word carousel, and they brought it back during the Crusades apparently from Turkey, I think it was. So it's just this sort of ancient game where it used to be just basically logs hung on ropes that they would just go around and round, and then they would try to spear things with their swords as they went by. And it became more and more popular and elaborate, and then people started climbing on just for fun, and then people started actually carving the figures, and we have the carousels that we know now. But for a long time, they were adult. They were for adults, not children. So apparently there was one in Versailles for the royalty, and they would all climb on and, have their extravagant parties and ride the carousel.
And they are lovely. they're just so beautiful. And we have a park here. I'm in Pennsylvania, and we had a park that I grew up in, and it had the most ornate carousel that was built like in the early 1900s. And you really couldn't go on as a kid, like as a little kid without your parent, like because they didn't have straps or anything like that. So your parent always had, until you got big enough, that you could climb on by yourself. And, that's what I kept thinking about as I'm reading this book. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's bringing back such memories of this carousel that I didn't even, like you don't really think about it, And then I was like, oh, I love that thing. I love it.
Which is really fun. And I think, a lot of us have those memories. I'm from California, and we used to go to Santa Cruz, has a very beautiful, I think it's a loose, because there were some very famous American carousel makers, and I think it's a loose. That's the carved carousel in Santa Cruz, and it still has the thing where you can catch the rings. So that was always, I was enamored with that when I was a child. And then near me here in Oakland, we have the Tilden Park carousel, which I think is a Denso. And again, just a wonderful, historic carved carousel, and they're just fascinating. And what happens when you're in France, if you've ever been to Paris or pretty much any town in France, they will have carousels just sitting around in plazas. It's really common. You can't walk around Paris without stumbling over carousels. And it's great because they're not part of a carnival or anything else. They're just sitting out there, and they're being used every day by kids and their parents and grandparents, and it's really quite joyous and so picturesque.
Yeah, and I have never been to Paris, but everybody that I was reading the reviews of people who, like me, haven't been there, they're like, if this book doesn't make you want to go there, then I...
Well, that's nice to hear. Yes. I actually have two books that are based in Paris as well, so...
I saw that. This is your third book. And, it was so much fun to read. And, I love the ending. I love the beginning. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just a fun read for me.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, to go back in time. And I thought the transitions of the times and the characters were just done beautifully. It was a lot of fun for me. And anyone out there who likes historical fiction, like, to me, that's what historical fiction is. It's like going back in time and place and different places, that are fun to visit. And that's what I enjoyed the most about it. So, and I know
that's lovely to hear. That's lovely because, I come at this from a mystery background. I used to write mysteries. I still do write mysteries. So I tend to be sort of plot driven. And I have to say what this book and the other two that I have that are based in Paris have offered me as an author is that I get to dwell a little bit more on the kind of the sensory details and, what life is like in a different place, and it's fun for me as an author because it's fun for me as a reader. There are a lot of places I've never been physically, but I've been to them. I visited them through books, and I always love that. I love that. I love to have the sense of what it would be like to be in, I don't know, India or Thailand or somewhere, and especially in a different time and place. And yeah, so I love that I can offer that.
Right, and just so everybody knows, this is your third standalone. Like, you have written a lot of mysteries, and
that's right, I have.
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of words out there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, I know this is busy because you're out promoting this right now. But do you find yourself are you still writing the next one? Like, do you just stop and then promote, or do you just keep writing?
I'm lucky enough to have worked with Penguin Random House for many years now, and so it's a double-edged sword in that I've been employed and I have a lot of books coming out, which is great, but it also means that I'm always, whenever I'm promoting one book, I'm writing another book, and I'm perhaps doing the copy edits on yet another book. So they're always at different points in the pipeline. So I haven't had the luxury of just doing the promotions or just doing the writing very often. So it's usually a little bit of everything all at once. So I am writing my next French-based book already.
You are? Okay. I was going to say, I think most writers do, and not very many stop. Writers like you who are a constant flow of books, basically. So,
well, and the other thing that we always say is that, you know, your favorite book is always the next book. It's the book you haven't written yet. Because you, like any artist, I think you're always excited for the next idea, you know, because it's fun. It's really fun.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I crochet blankets. I know that that's, you know, it's a different kind of art, but my favorite blanket is always the next one I'm starting.
Yeah,
like not the one I'm finishing. The one I'm starting next is the one I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
You know? So I get that.
But I think it's true for all artists. You know, it's like you're never. That's what Martha Graham said, is that no artist is pleased, because you always want to do the next thing, and it's. I mean, but that's the excitement, is you get to move on to the next thing, and that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, but that being said, I mean, it's also really nice, because I have been, you know, for a while now working on my next book, and it's kind of fun to come back and revisit Lost Carousel with people who are only now reading it. So that's exciting, too, to sort of revisit that way.
Yeah, and to see everybody that's out there and so excited about it, you know.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, like, they're making beautiful pictures with this book, too. Like, they love those artists over there make pictures out of the covers, which I thought that I was going to do that, and then I was like, I'll just let them do that, because I couldn't.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll just read. I'll let them make beautiful pictures. So, yeah. Really
I'll have to check that out. Oh, that's great.
And I want to tell everybody, my Instagram link is going to be listed below, because Juliet has offered a book giveaway, and I'm going to be holding it tonight over on Instagram, and I'm so happy about that, because I know that there's going to be so many people that want this in their hands, so that'll be fun.
Yay.
And thank you so much. It's a pleasure. You know, it was so much fun to read it, and then to be able to talk to you about it. It's everything. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Really, seriously, it's wonderful to hear people excited about books, and you know, thank you for all that you're doing.
Well, we'll talk soon, hopefully. You know, let me know when that next one, you know where to find me. I'll definitely read it. So let me know.
I will.
You have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Michelle.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Listening, everyone. Wasn't she so sweet? And like I said in the audio, she's going to be giving away a copy on my Instagram tonight. So look over there. I'll give you the link below to enter to win a copy of this book. Thank you so much, Juliet, and thank you, everyone.